All right, so we've got our MongoDB server running. We're connected to it, and we're in our MongoDB shell. So life is good. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the basics of MongoDB, and then we're going to just show you some basic stuff. We're just going to kind of go through what's on the platform. I just want you guys to be able to see that the code works and that running it is not so difficult. So with MongoDB, learning about a NoSQL database, the best way to start is just to learn what the comparisons are to a regular database, to a regular SQL database. So like we said on the platform, the first thing is a regular SQL database is equal to a Mongo database. You know, MongoDB is different, but it's not so different that the database is, the concept of a database changes. You know, one app, one database. That's exactly how we do it. So there's no kind of difference. So if you want to see the DBs on your MongoDB server, all you type in is show DBs, and that will show you all of your DBs. Now, if you want to drop a database, you say use. So this tells me to use a particular database, just like SQL. You'll say use. Let's drop new DB. New DB. I didn't mean to press tab. You can't autocomplete in MongoDB, and I tried, and that didn't work. So if you wanted to drop this database, you'll say db.drop database. And then that dropped the new database. So be careful. That's how you erase a database. So now if I say show DBs, new database is gone, so be careful. Okay, now if I wanted to make a database, I would say use followed by the name of the database. So if I have if I say use and I say a name that doesn't already exist in my database collection, it'll create the new one. So I'm going to say use. Let's call this test app, test_app. So now I'm using test app. So now if I said if I said show collections, notice I don't have any collections in here. So collections are the tables of a MongoDB database. So in a SQL database, you've got tables. In MongoDB world, you've got what's called collections. So I don't have any collections inside of my test app database because I haven't made any. So let's say I wanted to make a collection called users. So I would say db.create collection. Notice it's camel cased. Users. And then you hit enter, and then it returns a JSON object that says OK with status of 1, which is true. So that's great. So that's how you create a collection. Now, if I wanted to get rid of a collection, you'd say db. The name of the collection, so I would say db.users.drop. And if I run that, it'll drop the users collection. So now if I said show collections, it'll be empty again. There's no collection. System.indexes. So I'm sure that's kind of just a little default piece of information that they make when you make a collection. It just doesn't go away. So let's make that users collection again. So db.create collection users. Now we've got the users collection. Now, if I wanted to add to that collection, I would do something like this. I would say db.users, so the name of the collection .insert. And that's how you insert. So you'll insert a document. So anytime you run a command where you're putting data into a database with MongoDB, you'll pass it a JSON object because MongoDB uses JSON objects as its unit of storage. So these JSON objects that I'm going to put in this database are going to be what's called documents. MongoDB is what's called a document-oriented database. So if you look at their website, MongoDB, go back to their homepage, it'll say is a document database. And the Mongo stands for humongous because it's supposed to be very easily scalable to hold tons and tons and tons of data. So that's super duper important. So the equivalent to a table is a collection, like we said. Tables in SQL land have rows, and so the equivalent to a row in MySQL land, in Mongo land, is a document. So the document is like one unit of database storage. So if I wanted to add a document to a particular collection, you'd say db, which is just the database object, dot whatever the collection name is, dot insert, and then you'll pass it whatever object you want to put inside of it, whatever document you want to put inside of it. So I'd say something like name tray. And now I've got a document inside of my database. So we'll go through a lot more of this on the next video. We just wanted to get you guys kind of primed. So read the text, get this working, make a few databases, drop a few databases, make a few collections, drop a few collections, and we'll go on to the next video. All right, cool.